What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to walk you through the one thing that you need by 2030, otherwise you're going to be poor forever. Now, this isn't some over-the-top outrageous statement. By 2030 there's going to be massive changes in the world. If you haven't already noticed, there's been massive changes happening over the past few years. Right now, at the time of recording this video, it's 2024. There are billionaires out there in the world building bunkers, underground bunkers, in preparation for an event that only they seem to know is about to happen, something that they are future forecasting. It was in the news recently that Mark Zuckerberg just spent about $200 million on a bunker in Hawaii. But he's not the only one. A lot of these tech billionaires are doing this. And you can argue that maybe they've been doing it for a while. But since this news from Mark Zuckerberg has come out, it's also come out that a lot of other people, billionaires, have been building bunkers all around the world. Hawaii and New Zealand are the two biggest ones. Now, what I'm about to share with you in this video is not something that you can use to survive a major crisis or black swan event. What I'm about to share with you today is not that you need to build a bunker, because the majority of us are not going to have the money to be able to build a $200 million bunker for something that may or may not happen in the future. But I will say that if these billionaires are all doing this, they obviously know something that we don't know. But one thing we do know is that by 2030, there's going to be major changes. They call this Agenda 2030. And you can Google this and you can go and see all the different things that is expected to happen between now and 2030. One of the main sentences or statements that comes out of this agenda is that you will own nothing and you will be happy. And if you look at the world today, you can kind of see how this might actually be a reality in the future. Inflation is up. There's a housing crisis in almost every country out there right now, certainly in the US and Australia. They're trying to eliminate meat and get us to eat bugs. The list goes on and on and on. All of this is information that you can go and find yourself in Agenda 2030. But this video isn't about the agenda. It isn't about this black swan event, which is forecast to happen this year or the next year. It's not about that, because I just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Instead, this video is about revealing why you need a personal brand if you want to have a little tiny sliver of a chance of not being poor in the future. I don't care if you've got a business now or you've got property now. The pandemic has shown that regardless of what the laws are of the world or of your country, new laws and measurements can be implemented and used against you depending on what the government wants. I didn't vote for lockdowns. I didn't vote to have the police beat people up if they went over their fitness curfews, their outside curfews. At least that's what happened in Australia. I don't know about the rest of the world. I'm sure this happened in a lot of places. I didn't vote for these things. So what that tells me is that the government can change their mind at any time they like. And you really don't have as much power as you think in the voting process. And so because of all these reasons, I can't really tell you how you can prepare for 2030, except for doing this one thing. And that is to build a personal brand. You need to be creating a personal brand now. Today is almost too late, to be perfectly honest with you. You should have been doing this last year, but it's not too late, because most people haven't come to this realization yet. Start building a brand now on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. I would always recommend YouTube, because your videos on YouTube last forever. And when you monetize your account, you actually get paid good money. Unlike TikTok, where you can have 1 million followers and not get paid anything. Most people with 1 million followers get paid hardly anything, trust me, unless they monetize their actual audience and sell something to their audience. But I digress. Wherever you build your personal brand, just make sure you start doing it today. You need to have a personal brand if you have a business, if you're selling any product or any service. The majority of people out there in the world are skeptical, and they've been scammed in the past. If you run ads on Facebook, normal, legitimate ads on Facebook, the amount of messages you get from spammers and scammers telling you to click a link or your account's going to be rejected or removed or shut down. It is actually outrageous how many messages I receive from these scammer accounts from Facebook. And so I know that if I'm receiving all of those messages, most other entrepreneurs are probably also receiving them. A lot of other entrepreneurs are probably falling for it. Or your marketing team has fallen for it, or your sales team has fallen for it. You probably bought something on Instagram or Facebook that wasn't actually what you thought it was. I remember this story my dad told me a few years ago where he bought a boat from Instagram. It's one of those blow up boats that you can put in the pool and, you know, you can row in the pool. It's kind of for kids, but it's like a big boat. An adult can sit in it. And he bought this boat and the boat arrived and it was just like this small miniature sized boat. that no one can actually use. But the size measurements and things like that weren't on the actual advertisement itself. And so this happens a lot. It's not the only story I've heard, but I'm just using it as an example. Most people have been scammed, so therefore they're skeptical. The only way to get past that skepticism is to have a personal brand so people can know, like, and trust you. So that they know that when they purchase from you, you are a trustworthy person. So that they know when they work with your company and you hand them off to a salesperson or a marketer, a customer success rep, whoever it is, a service delivery manager, that they know that those people work for you and you are a trustworthy person. They want to know that you are an authority in your space and that what you're saying is true, because the majority of information out there is false or fake news or designed to scam other people or the customer. A personal brand is going to be what will be the difference between you actually having money in 2030 if they take everything away from us and being poor like the rest of the world. Because the rest of the world, unfortunately, live in a world of comfort. They think nothing will change. They think that the world is how it is and that nothing bad can possibly go wrong. Well, history will tell us that that is crazy. It's crazy to think that way. It would have been crazy to say 5 years ago that Russia would be invading another European country. We've got a potential global war that's about to happen in the Middle East. I mean, it's happening now, but it's about to erupt and potentially involve more countries. We really don't know what's going to happen. But I can tell you one thing that I can guarantee, and one thing that you know for sure, is that if you start creating content today, this time next year, or this time in 2 years, or this time in 3 years, you'll have such a big audience that there will be no way that you will not be able to make money from that audience in the future. You will never be poor if you have a personal brand and an audience. And in saying that, that's not the only thing that you need. Because if you build a personal brand, it could be a personal brand about nothing. It could be a personal brand based on entertainment instead of selling. So what you want to do is create a personal brand around something that you could potentially sell. And this is why you need sales assets. By the way, if you've made it this far into the video, check out the links in the description below, where you can learn how my company can help you either grow your business or help you start a business and live a digital nomad lifestyle. And if you're a video editor or you want to create videos for your business, again, there's links in the description below. There's a few of them, so go find the one that makes sense to you. But with most of the clients that we work with, I always advise them to create sales assets. You need to have sales assets in place so that you know down to a T exactly how your product or your service can help a customer. And you need to have those sales assets so that your potential customer can go through them and understand as well. Because what I found from my experience of just working a 9 to 5 in sales, working in different companies and working with different clients is that if you're the business owner or you've created the product or the service, it's very obvious to you why people need this product or service. But if you cannot get that information across to your customers, they're not going to buy. And so this is what we do at my company, Video CEOs. We help people create their sales assets. Most of the time it's through video because it's the highest leverage activity. You can create one video, it can be cut down into much smaller ones, it can be put into blog articles, etc., etc. Anyway, I digress because this isn't a sales video. This is about why you need a personal brand and sales assets. Otherwise, you are genuinely going to be poor by the year 2030. Of course, that is assuming that the 2030 agenda happens in 2030 and not 2031 or 2032. But I promise you it's happening. It's out there on the internet for you to go and check out. And the only way that you're going to be protected is if you have a personal brand where you can sell things to your audience, and you're going to be selling those things to your audience using sales assets. These sales assets communicate the information, the benefits of why your product or service is better. It can communicate the results that you've been able to provide for your customers. It can communicate why, in a scientific way, your product or service is the best solution for a problem that you solve. But not only that, it can also help you create a much better team. Your sales team needs to understand how your products and services actually help your customer. Once they truly understand and they truly believe it, it will be far easier for them to sell it. Think of it this way. If you had a magic pill that could cure cancer and people were booking calls in your calendar because they wanted to cure cancer, there would be no doubt in your mind that this pill works for them. So it will be so easy to sell. Even if people are skeptical, you will be able to communicate the benefits of this particular pill because you've got case studies and testimonials and there's proof and there's evidence. Now, this is a made up example, but you want to take that example and apply it to your products and services. And so if you have those sales assets in place, your marketing team will be fully behind it, fully invested. They know for 100% fact that your product and service is able to solve a solution. Same with your salespeople, same with your service delivery people and everyone else within your company. If there's some people within your company that don't believe that you can actually solve a problem, then that is where the problem lies. You need to create something that is guaranteed to get people results, especially when it comes to services. But the same can also be said for a product, because sometimes people want a product because they want to get some kind of result out of it, some kind of satisfaction. I'm not an expert on products unless it's an informational product, because it's kind of like a service. It's about getting results. But the same concept essentially applies. So this video has gone a little bit longer than I wanted it to. It's a bit of a mix and match between what is actually happening out in the world and business. But I urge you to go and Google Agenda 2030 if you've not heard of it. You will own nothing and you will be happy. That's essentially their motto, their main statement. So if you've never heard of it before, go check it out. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one.